see these muscles? I can open my own doors, I can carry my own things, and I will break you, goody man. Get away from me with your handkerchief and your chivalry. Hi, I'm Hannah with Identifying God's Best, and today we're going to talk about whether or not women should accept chivalry. We're going to have a girl talk, woman to woman. So, should women be accepting of chivalrous acts by men? The simple answer, yes. Okay, bye. Oh wait, remember to like and subscribe for more Christian content. Just kidding, not about the subscribing part. But this video isn't over. Let's talk a little bit more about this. Let's start by having a personal story. I had a really neat friend my whole life. She is super sweet and kind, and she liked boys, but she wasn't like super boy crazy, and it was nice to have a friend that was a girl who would talk about something other than guys. And one day out of the blue, we're talking, and she said something to the effect of, dude, Mormon guys are the best. And it was such a shock to like the other girls in the room because we were just not really expecting her to talk about boys, and it just kind of hung in the air for a moment. And after the initial shock got past, I said, you know what? You're right. Now, I'm an evangelical Christian, and I believe Mormonism is its own religion and not Christian or based on biblical truth. I believe if a Christian goes out with or marries a Mormon, they are not obeying God when he says to not be unequally yoked. If you want to know more about the difference between Christianity and Mormonism, our church has a YouTube channel called The Offensive Line, and my two friends there have a video on Mormonism. But back to the story. My friend was not talking about their religion, but the way Mormon guys she knew were very well-mannered and chivalrous. When we brought it up, it made me think of a Mormon guy that I knew from school too. There was this one guy who spoke up for me when I was getting dogged out about writing about the Bible in the middle of my English class. And there were Christian guys in the class as well, but it was the Mormon guy who spoke up for me, and I didn't need him to do that, but it was very chivalrous of him to come to my defense. Again, not promoting being unequally yoked. If you are a Christian guy and you're watching this, consider this a challenge to be more chivalrous and help the stereotype that all Christian guys are chivalrous. Chivalry is kindness and gentleness on display. In Ephesians 5:25-28, it says, husbands, love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself up for her, so that he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of water with the word, that he might present himself, the church, in all her glory, having no spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that she should be holy and blameless. So husbands ought to love their own wives as their own bodies. He who loves his own wife loves himself. When you read this passage, how can you help but envision an ecclesiastical knight in shining armor, a Christian, chivalrous, hunkamacious? He's loving, he's sacrificing, he's washing, he's making sure that she is spotless and blameless. He's caring for her as he's caring for himself. This is God's plan for men. And so as Christian women, we should be so excited when we see these kind of characteristics come out of men just in practical ways like chivalry. In fact, let's just go through some quick points with some chivalrous characteristics that are also biblical for man to possess. It is chivalrous and biblical for a man to provide. 1 Peter 5:8 says, but if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. Now, you may not be his family yet, but letting him practice providing by paying for dinner is not a slur to your worth or your humanity. It's simply letting a man be a man. The next one we're going to talk about is protects. Look back at the Ephesians 5 passage about husbands. They are to treat their wives like their own bodies. It's a man's reflex to protect himself, and he should instinctively protect those who are around him as well, not just wait around to get married to protect. He can do this physically by walking on the sidewalk closest to the street and letting you walk further away from the cars and from danger. He can do this by making sure your reputation is safe when you're with him. He can do this by watching what he says so that you are not tempted to stumble. The next thing we're going to talk about is being respectful. Again, look back at Ephesians 5. A man is to present his wife as spotless and without blemish, a respectable woman. To present her as respectable, he's going to treat her with respect and expect others to do the same. Okay, after looking at the long answer, do you understand why girls should not only accept chivalry, but be honored by it and cherish it? They should be joyous when men are behaving the way God created them to, whether or not they have romantic ties or interest in you. And if you still have questions about this topic, comment below. We would love to hear your specific scenario. This is Hannah from Identifying God's Best, and we'll have more girl talk later. What ho, fair maiden! I have my sword of truth, and I will protect you!